Patriots, this is wild. People are saying that Jake Paul lost hundreds of millions of dollars on the fight that he was supposed to win, but that Anthony Joshua went against the tongue sign script and pounded him out. And what happened? Look at what happened. Anthony Joshua allegedly, kind of suspiciously, was involved in an accident that almost took his life. It took the life of 2 other people. So a lot of people are questioning.
Alright, so something just broke that has the entire internet losing its mind. Jake Paul's name just got tangled up with Anthony Joshua, and now everyone's acting like they're watching a real-time crime thriller unfold. The moment these 2 names appeared together, people started digging, speculating, and treating this whole situation like some kind of explosive investigation. Everyone wants to know what really went down behind the scenes, why everything feels so intense right now, and whether we're watching fame, money, and boxing politics crash into each other in the most dramatic way possible.
What's going on?
What's up, Floyd?
I can have what I want.
What you mean with the camera?
Oh, you got cameras too?
So what you supposed to be?
I'm just working, fam.
What happened? You're not tough anymore since your loss? What happened since your loss? Yo, we gonna bust him up, guys?
I told you before, put that
Yo, let's bust him up. Where you running, Jake? Where you going since your fight? Since you lost? What's up, Jake?
Things got really intense when law enforcement terminology started getting thrown around. The second you hear about federal agents and celebrity mansions in the same conversation, rational thinking goes out the window and wild theories take over. Jake Paul suddenly found himself at the center of a story where staying quiet seemed to speak louder than anything he could actually say.
Calabasas confirmed that Jake Paul's home was being raided by the FBI. News station helicopters got footage and pictures of Jake Paul's house being
Oh, they taking his guns and stuff. So there's got to be something gun related. Like, damn. Well, that's a sticky situation right there.
Photos show the FBI SWAT team seizing guns, several guns. According to the local ABC station, the weapons included a long gun that was next to the hot tub in the backyard. This search is part of an ongoing investigation, and no arrests have been made.
News about an FBI search hitting Jake Paul's Calabasas place dropped like a movie trailer. Helicopters circling overhead, tactical teams, sealed warrants, and absolutely zero explanation about what was actually happening. That complete lack of details gave everyone online the green light to connect old stories, past drama, and existing doubts into something that seemed believable just because it felt so cinematic.
And this is Jake Paul's house. Just got raided by the FBI. What could this guy be possibly into now?
Connect outside of YouTube. Twitter was buzzing with photos and videos of SWAT teams at Jake Paul's house yesterday. And no, they are not fake. The FBI and a SWAT team showed up at Jake Paul's house with a search warrant. The search began at 6 a.m. in connection with an ongoing investigation, according to FBI spokeswoman Laura Eimiller. Jake was not at home at the time. Unfortunately for T channels and everyone else that wants to know the scoop, the judge sealed the search warrant affidavit, so we don't actually know too much about why Jake Paul's.
The moment authorities stayed tight-lipped about what they were actually investigating, the internet did what it does best and turned guessing into a competitive sport. Jake Paul doesn't get treated like a regular fighter anymore. He's become this ongoing series where every new twist gets hyped up as the next big reveal instead of just being a separate legal or business matter.
Any thoughts on AJ and the families?
Yeah, it's all prayers and blessings for Cena and Lots and Anthony, and I've kept them in my prayers, and it's such a tragic situation that we don't wish upon anybody, and I'm sending love to all of them and keeping them in our prayers, and I think everybody else should do the same. And we have so much love, and things are so much bigger than boxing and living life, and we're just all blessed to be here, and we all have to be grateful for that because you never know what's next.
This is exactly where the whole conversation shifted from boxing updates into full-blown conspiracy territory. Jake Paul's entire career sits right on the edge between legitimate athlete and entertainment product. When old rumors about fixed fights, predetermined results, and brand-focused matchmaking started bubbling up again, it was like throwing fuel on a fire that had been quietly smoldering among doubtful fans for years.
And when you lose hundreds of millions of dollars, people do not take it too kindly, and I can see the Vegas odds, if they were saying, look, he wins, he always wins, it's going to happen in the 6th round. But no, Anthony Joshua said, not on my clock. I'm going to break his jaw in two. Two, Johnny. Make it two, Utah. Make it two. What do you guys think about this? I don't know. Is this conspiracy theory? Is there some truth to it? I don't know. I don't know, but it does seem pretty suspicious that it happened so soon after.
Now here's where the supposed fleeing angle kicks in. The Anthony Joshua connection made everything 10 times more explosive because Joshua represents the raw truth of elite heavyweight boxing. This guy was built through genuine danger and real consequences. When you put his name next to Jake Paul's, people immediately start thinking about physics, credentials, and survival instead of just height. That makes any surprising result automatically feel questionable.
You know, for me, in my opinion, I think it's scripted a little bit because, you know, of the weight difference, and you know, Joshua is a former, you know, champion, and also, you know, he's current, he's active. You know, I mean, this is going to be the first time that we see Paul, you know, fighting an active fighter. You know, I mean, we seen the Mike Tyson, that was all fun, that was cute. You know what I'm saying? It's fun and games and stuff, but now you're dealing with a real professional. You know, and so we'll see how it ends up. You know, like I said, I think it's scripted.
Meanwhile, other people push back, saying capitalism doesn't need secret playbooks to create chaos. Marketing power, strategic timing, and careful opponent choices can control narratives without anyone having to write down fake scripts. Jake Paul's supporters kept pointing out that he trains hard, actually gets in the ring, and takes real risks that most internet celebrities would never even consider.
If Jake would have won, everyone would have known it was rigged. He couldn't win that fight. So he said, let me get to round 5. Let me get there, because if I can get there, then everyone can make money. And the second round 4 hit, Anthony was ready. It was so obvious. It's so gross to me that I participated in this because I wanted to see him get knocked out, and that's exactly what he knows to be true. Most people want to see him get knocked out.
The argument got heated because both sides were working with pieces of the truth. Jake Paul genuinely is a trained fighter, and he's also genuinely a calculated brand. Once people decide a boxer is primarily a marketing machine, every move, pause, and performance gets filtered through that assumption, fair or not.
I heard a lot of people saying, congratulations to Jake Paul for being brave to step in the ring with Anthony Joshua. Not many people will want to step in the ring with Anthony Joshua. Let me tell you something. If someone paid me $80 million to fight Anthony Joshua, I'm stepping in there tomorrow, right? No training, no nothing. I'm leaving straight from work. I fly to Miami, and I'll get my jaw broken for $80 million, no problem. And I'm sure there will be millions.
When the actual fight didn't deliver the brutal knockout some people were hoping for, disappointment quickly transformed into absolute certainty. That certainty showed up as scripting theories, supposed leaked documents, and alleged secret deal. It's emotionally much easier to believe in a rigged result than to accept that reality often produces messy, unsatisfying outcomes.
He's gonna get a load of money to knock Jake Paul's spark out. That's it, mate. I want to see him get chinned. I do. And if we're going to get paid a fortune for the pleasure, sign me up. That's it. That's it. You know, I mean, I'm kind of past the days of trying to spin it to you. Better off saying to the why are you doing this? For the money and for the giggles. That's really what it is. But I said to him, I said, this ain't magic, mate. This guy could take your head off your shoulder.
The supposed fleeing story feeds directly off that emotional investment. It turns everything into an online drama where alleged leaks and predictions get treated like confirmed facts instead of just coincidence or fan fiction. The logic becomes bulletproof because any pushback gets labeled a cover-up, any confusion gets framed as evidence, and the story doesn't need actual facts anymore, just attention and repetition. This is how the alleged fleeing narrative gained momentum. Once enough voices repeat something, it stops being a question and becomes accepted plot development, with Jake Paul cast as someone choosing escape over confrontation after pressure supposedly intensified following new reports tied to the Anthony Joshua situation.
Jake Paul has some big ass balls, bro. No diddy. You know, it's just like to go in there with one of the best heavyweights to ever do it, Anthony Joshua, Olympian. You know, was he a gold medalist? Gold medalist. Wow.
2012.
That's what I'm saying. So, you know, my respects to obviously Jake, because man, that took a lot, and he's robbing the bank, man. He's promoter. He's guaranteed.
The idea of Jake Paul fleeing the country spread like wildfire because it checked every viral box simultaneously. Celebrity scandal, sports corruption suspicions, and the irresistible image of a famous person trying to dodge consequences. Even though traveling by itself proves absolutely nothing, and movement is completely normal for someone operating at his level, the brutal truth for Jake Paul is that appearances have become proof in the internet's judgment system. Staying looks like hiding, leaving looks like running, and talking looks like damage control, which means every ordinary action gets twisted into guilt once people have already decided the outcome.
So they're going to tune in, and guess what we got? Jake Paul getting knocked out. He also made a lot of fucking money, and we are all just consuming it. If you believe in astrology, you will know this to be true. I looked up his natal chart. It's mostly earth energy. Everything he's doing is a fucking act. It's an act. He doesn't act that way at home. I guarantee it. He is a Capricorn, Sun, Mercury, Venus, Libra, Mars, and a Taurus moon. There's no way he acts like that at home.
Fight manipulation accusations carry much heavier weight because the moment sports betting becomes part of the discussion, everything jumps from gossip to potential legal territory. Promoters fight back hard, not just to defend Jake Paul, but to protect the reputation of an entire system that relies on fans believing competition actually matters. Ultimately, this story succeeds because it mixes real reporting with speculation and challenges people to spot the difference, turning Jake Paul into a symbol of modern celebrity, where attention replaces credibility, drama replaces patience, and every controversy becomes part of a bigger moral debate about power, influence, and the price of living under constant public examination. The law enforcement angle just amplifies all that chaos, because when official institutions intersect with celebrity culture, every silence seems calculated, every delay seems suspicious, and every standard procedure gets reinterpreted as proof of something massive happening backstage, even when no actual evidence supports that theory yet. When you really think about it, this whole situation reveals just as much about the audience as it does about Jake Paul or Anthony Joshua, because fans aren't just watching fights anymore, they're watching stories, and once a fighter becomes a narrative instead of just a competitor, every punch, trip, or flight becomes part of a legend that refuses to slow down. From a human angle, the Jake Paul situation feels less like a straightforward scandal, and more like society examining itself in terms of how modern combat sports get consumed, because figures like Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua don't exist purely as athletes anymore, but as representation, and when those representations clash, fans stop wondering what's accurate and start wondering what feels correct to accept. When you zoom out and consider Anthony Joshua's role in all this, it makes perfect sense why feelings run so intense, because Joshua symbolizes credibility earned through struggle, defeats, recoveries, and genuine risk, and that background makes people naturally protective of him, while simultaneously doubtful of anyone they think entered the sport through celebrity rather than combat. Jake Paul, like it or not, has become a magnet for that frustration, because his success forces difficult questions about worthiness, opportunity, and marketing, and rather than facing those questions head-on, many fans pick the simpler path of assuming manipulation, script, or secret arrangements, because those theories protect their beliefs about how boxing should operate. What disappears in all the chaos is that several things can exist simultaneously. Jake Paul can be a strategic brand, Anthony Joshua can be an authentic champion, and the boxing industry can still be harsh and calculated without crossing into actual conspiracy. But complexity doesn't spread well online when anger moves quicker and generates more revenue.